If you shut down, explode, or go cold in your relationships, this is not who you really are. This is unprocessed emotions. Welcome to the Connection Catalyst podcast, episode number 7. I'm Karolina, the Connection Catalyst, and today I'm going to talk about the system step by step that will help you navigate this emotional reactivity that you might have in conflicts and in your relationships in a daily life. So let's start with a few concepts that we need to understand before we dive into it. First of all, as kids, up to around age 7 or 10, we are programmed with everything around us. We take everything as a sponge. So, whatever we see, how our parents act or react, what our caregivers do, our teachers in kindergarten at school, and our peers, and so on, we take everything in because our mental body is not developed yet. So, we are only operating on the emotional body, which means that we take everything personally as children, and we take everything through the lens of emotions only without the analytical understanding of why, for example, a parent is screaming at me or why things happen as they do. Therefore, we learn by repeating the patterns of behaviors, thoughts, beliefs, and so on of people that we see, because we don't learn how to be human from books. We learn how to be human by watching everyone around us and absorbing their energy and their emotions and their behaviors. So that's why our childhood has such a massive impact on our daily life as an adult. And in order to stop reacting and start responding in relationships, we need to learn how to reprogram these childhood experiences that are affecting us right now, because the emotions that we suppressed in these times are copy pasted into our adulthood because they are still in our body and they are unprocessed. So I'm going to teach you how to process them step by step. And by the way, I have the whole emotion alchemy blueprint course online if you want to go more in depth into it, but I will talk about it later. So I'm going to teach you a step by step process to learn how to go back to these childhood experiences, process these emotions at their core, at the roots of the problem, which is always in childhood, and then by that fact, releasing like a domino effect, all the emotions in our adulthood that stem from these specific experiences in childhood. So, what to do when we are in conflict, when we are triggered? First step is to sit with your emotion. So, you want to do it ideally either with a coach, therapist, or by yourself. Not project your emotion onto the other person that you're pissed at, okay? If you're upset at someone, do not process these emotions with them unless they are able to hold you in it. But oftentimes, when we are triggered, the other person is also triggered. And in conflict, it's a recipe for disaster if we try to express to this other person with so much emotional charge how they hurt us. So take your time to speak to a friend, to a therapist, a coach, someone like me who can guide you through this process, or just be on your own until you process these emotions first. Thus, first step is to be with your emotion, but not in front of the person who triggered you, okay? And we want to be with this emotion fully, meaning you are literally closing your eyes, experiencing this emotion in your body, naming it that, okay, right now I feel, for example, sadness in my chest. And I imagine the sadness. What color and shape does it have? And then I sit with it and I try to expand it all over my body, or just imagine becoming the sadness so that I can feel it to the maximum level. So, second step is feeling the emotion to the max. Why? Because in this way, we're getting to the core of the wound. And if we feel it to the maximum level, if we feel it to the very depth, we are only immersed in it. And it's easy for our subconscious mind to show us the memory where it all stemmed from. So we want to feel it absolutely the deepest possible. And then when we are on this peak, the third step is to ask ourselves, when was the first memory of this feeling? Or what does it remind me of in childhood? When was the first time I felt it? And then from this point where we feel it on the peak and we just ask our body, because we are shutting down the intellect, we don't need the mind here. When we're asking our body about the memory of this feeling, then if we just allow ourselves to feel it fully and not think about anything, the memory will pop up by itself. Maybe you're gonna get a smell or a taste or a vision of something, or just a feeling that I'm small and I'm at school, no matter which sense you're going to get it, you're going to get a glimpse, or maybe a person, or maybe just a place. So you go with it. Whatever comes first to you, you let the memory surface by asking this question: when was the very first time I felt it? And just allowing it to come up. If you're going to try to think about it, it's probably not going to come up, because thinking is the conscious mind, and we are trying to get to the subconscious mind field. Okay, so connecting to the body, connecting to the feeling inside. In this step, it's important to mention that when the memory shows up, don't question it. Because even if you make up the memory, it doesn't matter, because your body shows you this specific situation for a reason. And even if it's imagined, the fact that you're going to feel the emotion connected to this vision that you got and express them will already heal you, will already make you feel lighter in your body. Oftentimes, when I work with clients, they question, oh, maybe it didn't happen this way. What if I'm making this up? It doesn't matter, because even if you're making this up, if you release the energy attached to it, even if it's imagined, you will feel lighter afterwards, so the healing will work. So go with whatever memory shows up. And then the fourth step is to identify with the inner child in the memory. And we're looking for the memory that is before age 10, because this is when we were programmed, remember? So if the memory from teenagers shows up, we are getting into this memory, first person perspective, and then asking ourselves, when was the even earlier time that I felt this way? Tracing it back to childhood. So when the memory shows up, you want to associate with your inner child. And you want to really feel as if you're the child in the memory, re-experiencing everything as if you were there, living it again. Because this is how you can really feel all the emotions, all the layers that were stored in this memory. This is the most powerful step. And then the step 5 is to express all these emotions that our inner child wants to express without any kind of borders, and really from first person perspective, letting it out. Crying, shaking, shouting, screaming into the pillow, throwing a tantrum, whatever it is that your body needs, breathing, and so on, to let this energy out. And you will feel when this is done, when the energy that you pinpointed at the beginning will not be there anymore. So when I had sadness in my heart, for example, as the dark circle, now when I'm in this inner child and I'm crying this sadness out and I'm expressing all these emotions, I will know when I finished this step, when I feel completely neutral in my body, when I'm still the child, still shit is happening in the memory, but I'm completely on zero. I feel zero emotional charge. And sometimes it can take even a few hours in the most hardcore traumas, but still, we are able to feel neutrality, and only then we know that this step is over. And when the child expressed everything and there is zero emotional charge, we go to step 6, which is coming into this memory as the adult. So first, in the first few steps, we released the emotional charge, and now we're going to reprogram how this memory is encoded in our subconscious mind. So step 6, come to your inner child as an adult, as you are right now. Step into this memory, maybe embrace them. Tell them that you understand how they feel. Tell them the opposite of what they learned by this situation. So tell them the opposite beliefs. For example, if we have a math teacher screaming at them at school that they are shit at maths, tell them that they are really good at maths. And even if they are not the best at it, they are probably really good at other things. And they are still enough, even without knowing how to calculate stuff, right? Or other things. So talk to your inner child at first, give them all the opposite beliefs to what they've experienced, and then step 7, ask them what they need. And here, imagination is the limit. If they need a hug, give them a hug. If they need to scream at their teacher at school, let them scream. If they need a group of friends, let them. If they need some kind of energy, emotion from the ether, you can give them a symbolic gift that represents this energy, like a bracelet that you give to them and they have this energy, or imagining the energy of this specific emotion coming from the ether and embracing them in it, or they can have a spirit guide or a superhero from a cartoon taking care of them, or a guardian angel, or they can have Jesus come and heal them, or the people from the situation, let's say the parents or teacher or a friend who betrayed them, or whatever else. Here, really, imagination is the limit to what the inner child might need. Might be something simple like I want a lollipop or, some kind of toy, but it could be something like I want to get out of this school or house or whatever, or I want new parents, new house, right? So we are meeting all the needs of the inner child in step 7, and we're going to see when all the needs are met, because the child will finally feel great, or at least at peace. Okay? Because if it was a hardcore trauma from childhood, then might not feel good, but it will at least feel neutral or peaceful. And we want to take the child out of this memory if it wants to, where it's going to feel better and safer. So we're creating the safe space in our mind, like a mental paradise, where we can take this child, bring them there, and then the child doesn't have to worry about the situation anymore. And we can really let go of a lot of emotional charge when you do this process, where first we release the emotion and then we reprogram how the situation was encoded. Because, for example, if the situation is I'm 4 and I'm at kindergarten and my best friend stole my toy, now I remember it as okay, I'm sad because someone stole my toy and it's my best friend and I feel betrayed. But then I expressed all these emotions and they were understood by my adult self. And my adult self actually gave me new toys and new best friends. So now I don't have to worry about anything because I have this, right? So it's about giving our body what it needs to feel chill. And because our brain doesn't know the difference between what we imagine and what is real, we can imagine giving our inner child, this part of us that is triggered, everything that it needed. And in our body, it registers as this is done and the needs are fulfilled. And we're going to feel massive difference after this kind of process. In my sessions with my clients, I do even more steps to this process. And I teach it also in the Emotion Alchemy Blueprint course that I'm going to put the link below the YouTube and Spotify. But you can also find it on my website, karolinakuraj.com. If you click on courses, KarolinaKuraj.com. And there is more to this, but even doing these few steps that I just mentioned here is going to already shift your energy, shift your emotion to the degree that you're not going to be triggered at your family member or partner or whoever you have conflict with. And you're not going to react with the same emotion anymore. Because when you work on one specific event from childhood and you really do a good job of reprogramming it, you are going to be free of it forever. Because this energy is not in you anymore and it's already reprogrammed how it was encoded. So this trigger will not get you anymore. And the same situation will not trigger you in the same way. If you struggle to feel your emotions, I will record more podcast episodes about parts integration. So how to do the work with the parts of you that don't want to feel, which I also teach in the course of Emotion Alchemy. But here I'm going to give you a few tips on how to do it. And if you want to go more in depth, you can buy my course and see it there. And you might ask yourself a question, but Caro, why the hell do I need to do this kind of work? I will tell you why. Because when you work on your emotions, you literally master your life. And this work can be used for all kinds of different stuff because it works with every emotion. So no matter what you feel, you can sit with this emotion and get to the root of it. And also, if you have any physical issues, you can ask yourself, how do I feel about this issue in my body? And then go into the feeling of it. For instance, I have a stomach ache. How do I feel about this? I feel powerless. And then go into this powerlessness and trace it back. And layer by layer, heal yourself from even physical issues, because every physical issue has some kind of stress behind it. So if you can go trace it to the root, which is in childhood, then you're releasing the stress from your body and it helps your body to heal faster. So to work on your emotions is one of the most important skills that you can have in your entire life, because if you know how to handle your emotions, you know how to navigate every life situation, including physical issues and illnesses and ailments. So I really encourage you to try this out and to check if you are able to feel your emotions, because if not, this is the most important skill, or one of the most important skills you can learn in life, and it's very, very valuable to do so. In my Emotional Alchemy Blueprint course, I speak even more about this, But even doing this process that I mentioned in this podcast episode should already change your life. So don't hesitate to try it out and let me know how it goes for you. Another thing I just want to mention is that if you are not able to get to the memory, don't worry, because even the very fact of you taking time to be with your feelings, to finally not abandon yourself while feeling like shit, but to be with yourself, to be present and allowing yourself to feel all these feelings to the maximum level, will already be healing for you. So if you struggle to get the memories surface to you, there might be a few reasons. One, you don't feel the emotion to the maximum level, so it's harder for your body to show you the memory. Two, there is too much mind of trying to control and figure out what was the memory rather than letting it come to you. Or three, you might just not be as attuned to yourself yet, which I'm going to show you in this podcast a lot how to attune to yourself more and more. But don't worry if the memory doesn't come. The most important step of this whole process is to be with your emotions, to express them, to release them, however you want. If you want to go to the forest and scream at the trees, do that. If you want to cry your eyes out, do that. But the most important is to release the emotional charge, because this is how our nervous system is reprogrammed, how our new neural pathways are created, because the old neural pathways are programmed with the stuck emotion in our body. But if we release it, then it's going to be completely different. So don't worry about not getting to the memory at first. And if you really struggle with this process, you might want to come for the session 101 with me. So let me know. Okay, so this is a step-by-step process. Please try it out and comment how it was for you, because I'm really curious if you struggle to feel or if it's easy for you to feel, if it has helped you or not. Comment below and send this to a person who struggles with reacting rather than responding in relationships, in conflicts, in stressful situations. And thank you so, so much for being here with me. You're the reason why I'm recording this content. I hope it helps. Let me know if it does. And see you or hear you in the next episode. P.S. If you want to ask me anything, feel free to reach out to me at karolina@karolinakuraj.com. Karolina with K at karolina, Kuraj.com. Thank you.